Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one and all to episode number 13 of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion, a show where every other Saturday we take one specific episode from any of the Star Trek series that aired between 1966 and 2005, or one of the feature films, and we watch and discuss it with special guests. And we do have a special guest for our show tonight. And our special guest is a wonderful woman. She's a good friend of the channel, and she's a good friend in general. You know, you can find her on Stone Cold Loki's channel every Friday morning on the Weekend Review with Stone Cold Loki and the Rooster Dave Bob. You can also find her on the VacTube every Friday evening at around 6, 7 o'clock with Daryl the Derelict, Darth Arlena, Jester Thin, and occasionally Fat Steven, where they just sit back, relax, and they have a bar-like atmosphere, and how could you beat that? But tonight, Arwen has specifically requested that we watch and discuss a great episode from the 5th season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It aired in early November of 1996 in celebration of Star Trek's, what was then the 30th anniversary of the franchise, where that year you had Trials and Tribble-ations for Deep Space Nine, you had Flashback for Star Trek Voyager, both of which brought somebody back from the original series. And you also had Star Trek First Contact, November that year as well, which was the second of the Next Generation movie franchise films. But before we get too deep into this episode, I do want to beam in our special guest. The transporter room is signaling to me that they have a lock, and I'm going to go ahead and beam her in.
I've arrived. Hey, y'all. Did I beam in okay? Am I all still here?
Everything's still there.
Good.
Detecting any abnormalities or any evil clones.
Oh God, I hope not. But it's my first transporter experience, and I'm all still here. I'm honored. I'm honored to be here, Pacific. Thank you for having me. And your intro, oh my God, your intro got me. Your intro was beautiful. It was perfect.
That took me several days and several hours to get done. And even after I finished it originally, it's like, no, I need to add a little bit more here, a little bit more there. I wasn't satisfied completely with the first one.
I loved it. When it starts out to Absent Friends and then goes into, I was like, oh God, Pacific, I'm going to be squalling the second into your intro here. It was beautifully done. Really well done.
One thing about that intro is I knew I wanted to have clips, and at first I was thinking I got to find clips of all the cast members together from each of the series.
Yeah.
And then, that was proving more tedious than I expected. So it's like, okay, back up. Have all the ships.
So good. I mean, yes. Because let's face it, the ships are characters too. We are as attached to the ships as we are these people and their stories. And so absolutely well done.
And for anyone who's wondering where I found the music, I found that on Pixabay. I searched for any royalty-free music on Pixabay, and I typed in my search parameters, Star Trek being the main thing, and that's where I found the theme. The main theme that I put together, that's actually two pieces from the same individual. I just spliced them together as best I could.
Wow.
And then I also found another thing the person did that I used for the end credit. Because Star Trek still means something to me.
Yes.
Especially when you're talking about Star Trek from 66 to 2005,
Yeah. Yeah, and I know, and we're not going to focus on the negative tonight. I'm full proponent of that, but I will, because what you just said, how about Star Trek, the stuff that they're putting out today it makes me appreciate what we have, what's gone before, if you will, so much more. And there's even some episodes where of Star Trek. Well, yeah, I'll roll my eyes and I'll be like, "Oh my God, y'all really were testing the waters, weren't you?" And I just kind of chuckle. And I even have an appreciation for them more now, because I'm like, you know what? Hey, I see where they were going, and I'm all for it. Right here in this, not the new stuff. So I get that. We love this. I don't want to say genre. This franchise. Thank you. This franchise.
And one thing about tonight's episode, and I know you have many things to say about tonight's episode too, is all the effort they put in to recreate props from the original series, recreate certain sets from the original series.
Yeah.
It showed that they had passion and dedication for this episode. And speaking of this episode, Arwen, what was the main reason why you selected the episode for tonight?
Okay. I'm going to go into the episode a little bit. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. All right.
Spoilers are allowed.
When I was little, I had 3 older brothers at the time, and Star Trek was in syndication, but I was such a girly little girl, and they were, some of them were, 2 of my brothers are considerably older than me, and then I had one about 3 years older than me. So they always watched Star Trek, and they were into Star Trek. And I mean, I was around it enough that I knew the characters were, but it was like Nerdville to me. Okay, I wanted my Barbies, I wanted my Disney. Y'all can have your Star Trek. So, because I knew they were what the characters were, but I didn't ever watch an episode. Fast forward so many years, and my late husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, we'd only been dating about 3 months. He turns on the TV, and The Next Gen is on, an episode of The Next Generation. And I'm walking through, when I'm seeing these, I'm like, wait a minute. That's not Spock. Like I said, I knew enough to know who they were, but not anything about them. I'm like, that doesn't look like no Captain Kirk. And he's like, no, this is Star Trek Next Generation. He kind of looked at me like, where you been? He's like, you don't know about this? I said, no, I never even watched the first series. I said, I know they are, but I never watch it. He's like, oh God, you'll like this. Come on. I was like, okay. Well, that started a love affair with The Next Generation. And I'm like, this is cool. And then came along Deep Space Nine, and I found my tribe. Now, at this point, I had really gained, an understanding for Star Trek and a love for it, but only that generation, or that Next Generation. It never thought to me to go back and watch the whole thing that started it. So Deep Space Nine came along, and I was like, yeah, let's go, Cisco. I was all in love with it. And they got to this episode. And I was like, oh my God, I know these characters. I love how they're doing this. They are blending my world and my brother's world, if you will. And all of a sudden, the Star Trek vision and love and appreciation for this entire franchise, this IP, just fell into place. It clicked. I got it. It was like Pacific. That was the first time I got it. I'm like, they weren't nerds, or maybe I was the one who was missing out on being the nerd. This shit's good. This is good, solid stuff. This is sci-fi that, at the time, sci-fi was very niche. It wasn't until Star Wars came along that all of a sudden it bursted out in mainstream. Well, when I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, no, this stuff is really mainstream right here, because they treat their audience with an intelligence. They present to you the issues, and they leave it in your hands. They expect you to think, they expect you to, and it all clicked. And after that, I was like, you know what? This episode is responsible for that by itself, because of the care and the attention and the respect that they played for those originals, for that original series. And, so many times a sequel will try and make itself bigger, better, greater. We're the really important ones. No, this showed deference to that. And it made me think, I'm missing out a whole lot of Star Trek by not knowing more than just the names of these original characters. I want to know their backstories. I want to know who they are. I want to know what makes them tick. And I want to, I'm touched by these stories. These affect me. These get me to think, let's go to the original source.
Mhm.
This episode alone was responsible for everything clicking.
And that's the thing. The writers, the producers, the directors, the actors, even the studio at the time had a tremendous amount of respect for Star Trek
Yes.
when this episode came around. So the production team under Herman Zimmerman painstakingly recreating parts of the original set so they could tell
Yes.
the story.
Just that reverence, really.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't treating the original series like a throwback. They were treating the original series like the source.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I just, and I was watching B5 at the time. You know my love for B5.
Oh yeah.
And I have since learned that when Deep Space Nine came out, there was a little trepidation. Well, how is Star Trek going and voyaging into the stars going to work if you're stuck on a space station? There was a little bit of rumblings, but they did it. And I was already used to a series, with that. And it was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. So I was good with Deep Space Nine being set on a space station, and then everything that it contributed. And then by the time it got to this episode, I had already been hook, line, and sinker, but this one cemented the entire worlds for me.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine, by the end of its run, for me, became the number one of the spin-offs.
Yes.
I keep the original series by itself.
Yes, exactly. It's like when people ask you who's your favorite captain, and it's like, well, of course, Kirk. And I'm like, no, I don't count Kirk because he is a fan favorite. He's the original. He, of course, is everyone's go-to. But beyond Kirk, who's your favorite captain? I agree. Deep Space Nine is the pinnacle of the spinoffs. Now, there will always be a special place in my heart for Jean-Luc Picard and all of them, because that got me into this realm. It got me into these worlds. And it was like my introduction. That's why I love Deanna Troy, y'all. I know people make fun of her for filth. She's weepy and all, but it was kind of like my Uhura in that I saw this very feminine, very girly, gets her nails done, and she's into all that kind of shit. Someone like me who's cruising the stars. And I was like, that's cool. And then I saw Worf, who was nothing like me, who I still to this day think is the only and ultimate hottest character of Star Trek. So win-win, it was good. But yeah, this episode definitely is one of my pinnacles, and I love it. And the triples are cute. I love the triples.
I mean, that's another thing. Recreating tribbles and getting the original sound effects so they could use it. And yeah, you could tell it's for the original series, and that's what makes it even more memorable. It shows that they did it with love. It's like, okay, we can't recreate the sound exactly as it was, but we can take it from the episode and remove any background noise that might interfere and put it into our episode.
And we went with it. Hook, line, and sinker. We were like there for it. I don't know anyone who doesn't know that episode with some sort of fondness, because it kicks back to the OGs.
It does.
There's one more thing, but I am going to save it until we get to that part that endeared it to me, and I'm really glad they went the way they went with it, but I'll save it till we get there.
Okay. And I do want to let everybody who is watching, listening, or lurking know that if you would like to join Arwen and I as we watch this episode and discuss this episode, the Cosme link is pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube and Rumble. It will not work if you're watching this on the replay. If you're watching this on the replay, it will take you to the Cosme page, but you won't be able to see the episode.
Now, do I have to play it as well as you, or you have?
No, I have control of playing the episode, and if everybody is ready, I'll go ahead and start the episode.
Yay!
Here we go. And if you need me to pause at any point to talk about certain scenes, just let me know.
All righty.
That always made me chuckle when Dax said that.
I know, because it's Dax, you know.
That's what made her endearing.
Oh yeah, and Kira's too uptight to do that. She's like, at this point, she's like, oh, I ain't going there. I love these characters. There's my favorite captain, y'all.
If I'm in a battle situation, I want to be with the Cisco. If it's diplomacy, I'll be with Picard.
That's fair.
And I do want to take the time to say hello to Admiral Lady Mist,
Lady Mist,
Leia Rose,
Leia Rose,
and I know I saw him in here. DJ Ronnie G.
Yeah, I was going to say I saw DJ Ronnie G. Hey, DJ Ronnie.
I think it was good for them to actually give this information to anybody who may not have watched Deep Space Nine before this episode.
I agree. And can I just say that the bald head and the goatee are characters amongst themselves, that he really came into being Cisco when they kind of changed up his look? Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it.
And they should have let him keep that look when he came over from Benson after he won the audition for Cisco. But they said, we already have a bald captain.
Well, I'm glad that they changed their minds.
Me too.
Oh, God. I will never forget that. Hot fish juice.
No, that doesn't sound anywhere remotely delicious in the morning.
It's like just strain a tuna can, heat it up in the microwave, and give them the juice. I cannot.
You're going to make me gag.
Oh my God, yes.
And how they always mess with Worf.
Musky peas and a touch of lilac. I love Worf.
Worf has always been one of my favorites, but one of my other favorites is definitely Dax from Deep Space Nine.
Oh, yeah.
If I didn't have to pick the Cisco, I mean, you can't argue with the Cisco.
I'm telling you, he's total package. He's got like the diplomacy of Picard when he wants to. He doesn't always want to. And the moxie of Kirk, you know.
And it was nice that they were able to get Charles Burrell to come back as Darwin for this episode. And
yep. Can I just say, though, right now, I've never quite forgiven them for Dax's death. Just saying. Just saying.
I haven't forgiven them either. They could have found a way to remove Dax from the series.
Yeah.
Have her reassigned to another post. And
yeah, that would have worked. I would have been better with that than Ezri.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting off. I'm getting off track.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all about having fun and, talking about things that we enjoy about Star Trek and things that we, might still grind our gears.
And, to be fair, it's not that actress's fault at all. I think she did a great job for the impossible situation she found herself in. Nobody was going to replace Dax. No one. I'm just sorry. It just wasn't going to happen. And I think they tried not to replace her, but come on, it was still, hello, symbiont, it was still Dax.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean,
what a beauty.
if I had my way and I was running the show at the time, I would have, like I said, had Dax reassigned to another posting.
Yes.
And then as it got close to the series finale, bring her back.
Okay, you know what? I think that would have been a better way to handle it. It would have given us time as fans to come to grips to this new character, so to speak.
Mhm.
And yeah, they normally don't keep them around their former life. That's the way I understood it with the Trill.
Yeah,
But
with the Trill, they go from one host to the other. But I wouldn't even have killed off Jadzia. I would have just had it where she's needed at another posting because of her skills. Cisco's reluctant to let her go, but he knows for the sake of the Federation, Klingon Alliance, and their effort against
yeah,
the Dominion, it has to be done. So
that's a
then,
good point.
so then in the seventh season, as it got closer to the series wrapping up, that's when I would have brought Jadzia back because wherever she was, they realized no, you need to be back on DS9 now.
Yeah, in that case, I could see them making an exception. Okay, yeah, that's your former people. We normally don't do this, but you need to go. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Hell yeah.
And I love Avery Brooks' smile when he's saying the one and only.
One and only. See, he's very Kirkian, so he gets it.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that they took the effort to build an enterprise model, a K7 model, and then you'll see it later in the episode, a D7 model,
Yeah.
it shows what passion they had. If we're going to do this 30th anniversary celebration, we're going to do it right.
Right, right. And that was a good year for sci-fi in general.
Mm-hmm. Early to mid 90s was a wonderful time for any science
Yeah.
fiction fan to
Yeah, it
watch different
was.
shows. I mean, you had Time Tracks being one of them. Eh,
Yeah.
you did have a RoboCop series. It was okay, but you also had DS9 and Babylon 5, and
Yeah. Did you say
you,
First Contact?
you had First Contact in the theaters.
My favorite
You,
Star Trek movie is First Contact, without a doubt. Yeah, it was a good year.
we'll talk about this tomorrow, Tim. Thank you very much. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course he did.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it. He knows what they all look like, but what if he has, from their point of view, what if he has the ability to change or
Mm-hmm.
mask himself up more and blend in? You know, he knows what they look like. They're not going to necessarily change,
Exactly.
but who knows what he's going to do? So
I
that's
mean,
hard
even
job.
look at this for the episode. In order for Cisco and crew to blend in, they have the original uniforms.
Yes, look. Oh my God. Look at O'Brien.
Throw back to McCoy with that line from the Sheer, and
Yeah. And his hair. Look how 60s his
Mhm.
hair is. Here we go, y'all. Oh, women knew how to dress in the 60s.
Yep.
Beautiful. And it's tasteful. As a woman, what she's wearing is tasteful.
Hmm.
for anyone who's offended by her outfit. And that beehive, I'm just dead. Sorry, I
Again,
notice things like the hairstyles on all like I said, girly girl here, I notice all that shit. I love the
but you know
costume.
that's the attention to detail they put into this episode, making sure. Okay, if we're gonna have it set during Trouble with Tribbles, we gotta make sure we get it right, from the
Yeah.
hairstyles to the lighting to the sets.
Look, she's covered up, she's taken makeup, covered up her spots.
Hmm.
I mean, all of it. Worf's wearing a little headpiece to cover or a hat to cover his ridges.
Hmm.
I mean, I love they have all the right colors. It's look at that. Oh my god.
Even the corridor here. Look at how they made sure to light certain areas, just like it was in the original series.
Yeah. I was geeking out on this. I was like, Robert, because we were watching it. I'm like, did the original series really look this bright and vibrant? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, they've kind of graded up a little bit the scale through the years, but he's like, the original series had color and they recreated it beautifully here because since I've since seen it.
Yep. See,
Please.
this is an appropriate fish out of water situation. They're used to the technology of the 24th century, yet they're back in the 23rd century.
It's like Scotty in Voyage Home. Hello, computer. Guys like
Just use
use
the
the
keyboard.
mouse. Yeah, just use the keyboard. It's the same kind of thing, and it gets me every time. I love it.
The keyboard. How quaint.
How quaint. Yes. Oh my god. That's right. How old is Dax? She knows all that stuff.
Oh yeah. But I mean, when I look online and see replica props, I mean,
So
granted,
good.
I don't buy any, but I look at them and saying, "Yeah, that looks accurate."
It just makes my heart happy, it really
Mhm.
does. Oh my god. He's subtle.
Odo is Odo. Of
Yeah, he is.
course, at this point in the series run, Odo had lost his shape shifting abilities on the season finale in season 4, and
That's right. That's right. And wasn't that as human as he could possibly look?
yeah, and
Oh, beautiful
the
Uhura.
founders kept his face looking the way it was as a reminder of what he lost.
Yes, yes.
Exactly, Tim. Exactly.
So good. And that outfit looks like it's just out of season 1, the
Yep.
original. 1,000%.
But see, your first example of blending the original episode and then with what was then the new episode.
Yes.
Seeing Odo in the background there.
And that was Arwen with the kitten at the bar. My cats are tribbles, I swear to God.
Cross circuited and patched together. It just shows
Oh
that
my
Scotty does
god.
what he can to try to get things working on the ship.
He's like their MacGyver. If it works, it works.
Hmm.
And in the background, I mean, my god, so good.
Again, painstakingly recreating effects for the sets, and
it looks like you're on that you're there.
yeah, whether it was looking at the blueprints for the original sets, looking at episodes to see exactly how they were lit back then.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show, at least at the time, Hollywood cared about what they were doing.
Yeah. Oh my God, you have no idea what you're doing. Stop it.
Stop
No
it,
touching
Chief.
O'Brien.
you may know how to keep Cardassian, Bajoran, and Federation technology working together on Deep Space Nine, but when it comes to an old Constitution class ship, hands off.
Paws off, bud. I laughed my ass off the first time I saw it. I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to shut them down. Stop it. Even though it's crude and rudimentary to them, it's still not his world right now. Oh, God, Worf. Get yourself some prune juice, Worf. Relax. There's my babies.
And Worf is irritated.
Little space rodents. And it
Worf likes to bring attention to himself.
These are like the kittens of Star Trek.
Yep.
That thing. He's so triggered.
If Worf had social media, he'd be writing about it right now.
Oh my God, he would. Mortal enemies, y'all.
Yep. Small little fuzzballs, the mortal enemy of the Klingon Empire.
Could you see them getting all up in their armor and singing their, war song to go to war with Tribble?
Drinking their blood wine and
yeah. Oh my God. See? Right? And another reason why I love this episode is it shows you a lighter side of them all.
Yeah.
It's not a heavy episode.
Yeah,
very well done.
It just showed there that even Odo had a lighter side.
Right. And it more of Worf's personality is carved out. We know now about the great Klingon Tribble mortal war.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant. Because it's so ridiculous, but it's awesome.
And that's funny too, where Sisko, because he's used to having his comm badge on his chest, tapping his comm badge, but he's like, that's right.
Just sewn on. See, her intel is invaluable because it's just from her lives of experience.
Yep. In this case, it's Curzon's.
Yeah. Exactly.
But see, Dax is like us. He's like us in the way that she wants to go experience meeting a younger Koloff.
Yeah. She exactly. She's into all the social of it all, we're here, I wanna see it, but they still have to be careful?
Hmm.
They have a mission.
And this isn't the last time they'll actually recreate some sets for the original series. They'll do it again in the Mirror Darkly parts 1 and 2 for Enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, there she is again.
Hmm.
Ah!
You're trading power, Doctor. And again, like you said, the makeup, because you even look at her eyeshadow, it looks like
Yeah.
the same technique they would have used back in the 60s.
Yes, exactly.
And it's good to see Tree Rock over on the Cosby side. Good to see you, brother.
Oh my god. Oh, I can't help but
That's
share.
gross.
Don't
I thought it was gross 29 years ago. I still think it's gross.
Oh, it is, and that he's so serious about it. He's like, "Oh my god, I might never be born. I may become Marty McFly." Be
And
fleeing.
O'Brien's like the rest of us, like, oh, come on, Julian.
Yeah. It's like, just dude, have some tea and chill out. Go talk to Garrick. Go talk to him, relax, you're fine.
Have some lunch.
Right. I do love these characters so much. I do. Oh, there they are. I love that shot. I want a poster of that. What a poster of that.
And you can see the coffee stain on Leonard Nimoy's uniform, because I remember
Yes.
hearing him talk about it during a convention, saying he was on his lunch break and he spilled coffee on it, and they tried what they could to get it out, but of course you couldn't really see it that well in the original episode. But with this episode,
Right.
they remastered
Right.
some of the videos so you can see it. But
Because
Dax
I
being
never
fascinated by Spock, and go ahead,
Mhm.
Art.
No, you're right. I never noticed that in the original, but now I see it. Now I know you're right. But, oh god, she says that about Spock. To hell with the prom directive. Come on, let's go.
Come on.
Right? Who cares about a possible time paradox? We're not worried about it.
Oh, no, we'll fix it. We've got
We'll
the orb
fix
of time.
it. We'll meet them, then we'll take the orb, go back in time, we'll fix it. No harm, no foul. See? Yeah. We love you, Dax. We hear you.
Dax is us.
Yeah, Dax is us. Exactly. Here we go.
Mm, mm.
He's so salty.
And
I love it.
love it too. And I also love the seamless transition.
Seamless, yes. Just beautifully done. Again, to hell with the prompt directive. And that too.
Yep.
That too. Here we go. I was like, what?
Mr. Worf.
Right.
It's a long story that they never had to touch on in Enterprise.
Ever. Ever. I thought at this time that was the best way to handle it. It's our business. Sawed off. And they didn't have to explain a thing. And I loved that. And I loved that. Chekhov is so hot-blooded.
Yep.
We do not speak about it to outsiders.
Yep. It should be hauled away as garbage. I've always loved that in The Trouble with Tribbles.
Oh my god.
And the fact that they managed to get it in this episode.
Right? Uh-oh. Klingons are bad news, y'all. We know it. That one had a very human haircut.
Yep.
But they don't want to talk about it. Something happened. They don't want to talk about it.
Nope. It's Nunja. Nunja business.
Nunja business. I just was like, yes. Way to go, Star Trek. Way to go.
And Bashir.
Oh my god. The bartender. Just another day in OG Star Trek.
Yep. Happen every week. Wolf should be happy.
Oh my god. So good. He's like, okay.
He's like, I'm not spilling my drink. Oh my god, Odo. Yep, good old Cyrano Jones.
Now remember, they're trying to be there on the down low. Okay.
Yep.
Nobody wants anyone to meet anyone, but here they are in a bar fight. It's like, you kind of pooched that one, y'all.
Yeah, they did.
But the Klingons, we do not talk about it. I died the first time I heard that. It just endeared it all to me.
Like I said, they never had to touch up on it in Enterprise. They could have just left it alone.
I wish they had, because it was brilliant. Brilliant. It was what it was, and everyone accepted it. And it made the Klingons, to be honest, more interesting.
Yeah. You don't have to answer every question. Leave it a mystery.
You handle it well, and everyone will accept it. And that's the first time I'd seen that done. Let me put it that way. The very first time I'd seen a studio or whatever take something like that and say, you know what? We're not going to retcon nothing. We're not going to explain anything. It is what it is, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it.
And again, another scene where they seamlessly put in their characters with the original episode.
My late husband was all about Kirk. That was his boy, hook, line, and sinker. This was his favorite scene in this episode. He loved it.
Good to see you, Shane.
Very Kirky scene too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Dismissed.
But what we don't see as Bashir and O'Brien are leaving is, you know, that interaction between Kirk and Scotty, where Kirk wants to find out who threw the first punch, and Scotty says, "Well, they started insulting you, and that's when you threw the first punch."
Yeah.
And then Kirk finds out that Scotty threw the first punch when they insulted the Enterprise because it was a matter of pride.
So good. You know, and to be honest, this was a lighter episode for the original series too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not, I mean, it's not what at all what I would call a filler. You know, every season has their filler episodes. We all know what they are. It happens. This is an episode that stands on its own, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. It's a fun episode for both series, really.
It still continues what was going on at the time in the series with the captain's log by mentioning, you know, the Defiant going to Cardassia Prime to get the orb and then going under cloak to avoid Klingon patrols.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't, like you said earlier, doesn't disrespect the original episode.
Right.
Of Trouble with Tribbles.
Right. And I'd say both episodes of both seasons are standout episodes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, get over it, Klingon. Tribbles are cute.
Mm-hmm. And Shane says, you know, in TNG, Worf got tired of just standing around looking angry and not getting lines. One day he came on stage and cracked open a raw egg and went out all clean on the set.
Can I just say for the record, that takes a really sick individual to stick a bomb inside a Tribble, just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that Darwin is that kind of individual.
A mean, mean man.
Especially holding resentment for Kirk for 105 years.
Right? It's like, let it go already. Oh my God. I forgot there was that many. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
You're right, Jade. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Jade was asking, where do you stick it in?
Oh.
For the bomb.
See, exactly. How do you, unless you'd have to kill it and then stuff it. And that's just, ugh.
Unless you put the bomb inside something for the Tribble to eat, and that's how it ingest it. And
yeah, something. Inject it.
I don't know.
You know, little particles that explode. I have no idea, but it is just twisted individual that does that. Look, I love it. They're all over the damn place.
Mm-hmm.
They're stuck everywhere. Oh my God.
I remember seeing when they were doing the behind the scenes for this episode where they only recreated part of the original series bird set.
Yes. When this episode came out, when it aired, I worked at a bookstore and we got in an actual plushy Tribble. And it had a little mechanism that if you squeezed it, it would start cooing and vibrating. It was the cutest damn thing, but it was pricey. There was only one, and I was like, I want this, but
Yeah,
I'll wait till payday. And 5 days later, when I got paid, I had the day off the day before. Somebody came in and bought that damn thing. And it's one of my biggest regrets that I didn't buy it on the spot.
but I know what you mean. You see something, you could say, I'm going to hold off on it right now until I get paid
Yeah. I was
because
trying
I
to
don't
do
have the money
something.
right now for it. But when I get paid, I will. And then you go back to get it. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, I guess I should have taken the chance, but you don't know.
Who in the hell else where I lived did I ever think would come in and buy the one Tribble that's in the store? It just was out of the realm of my imagination. Well,
Hmm.
nope. It's a hot commodity. But
I
yeah,
remember seeing one of them at a convention I went to, and it was
I
pricey
love
at the
it.
convention. I mean, you go to a convention anyway, and things are priced up the wazoo. And
Yeah. Well, it was about the size of that kind of lightish tan one. It's about the
mhm.
not the smallest, but like the between the biggest. It was like the medium. It was about that size and about that color, and it was so cute. And it just that, and then it cooed. Like, God. So that's my biggest Star Trek non-purchase. Look at them all, y'all. Oh my God. And you know how easy that probably was not to create all those, but that design, it's a ball of fluff.
Mhm.
That's all it is. But we love it.
We love it because it has meaning to us.
Yeah. And such a simple design.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
I
I mean,
mean,
Star Trek gave a ball of fluff a personality.
yep.
Think about
I,
it.
and here it is. They recreated the Tribbles for this episode because it had purpose and meaning. Where new Star Trek will say, "Hey, here's a Tribble for no reason at all."
Right. It's like, why the hell are they there? Come on. Exactly. Oh my God. Look, Tribble's, oh, in his cup on his plate. Oh my God. I can't. Oh God. They are a nuisance. I
Yep.
love them, but they are a nuisance. If I could get one sterilized, I'd have just one. If they were real. You'd have to. They're so invasive.
Otherwise, you leave the house one day, you come back hours later, you go, "What the hell?"
Oh, you leave the room for 5 minutes. Come back and there's 10 more. It's like, what? Yeah. But they are so cute. And it's sad. They're all dying because they ate that poison grain
Hmm.
that was meant for Kirk. Like, brilliant. It's just how they meshed these two. Brilliant.
Hmm.
Mad respect. Oh, he's buried underneath a mountain of tribbles.
It's an avalanche.
And what has it been? An hour, maybe? I mean, since they started showing up, breeding?
Hmm.
I don't know. This has not been very long in their time. And look at how many of them. Oh my
I mean, that's just in an hour, and they were there for a couple of days, and
my God. Oh, I love it.
Dax
I
is like,
love it that we get to hear him
I'm
say it
good.
too.
Nice.
Ooh, we all breathe a sigh of relief. Poor little dead Tribbles, though.
Yeah. Now it's going to be beamed out into space with the tricorder.
Bye-bye. There it is. I'm so glad it was already dead, but that's still kind of traumatic to see a
Yeah.
Tribble explode.
Because it's a living creature in the Star Trek universe.
Oh, no. Kirk's over it. Yeah. Busted.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
And a beautiful way they blended that, too.
Oh, so good. I'm like, "Oh, Kirk and Cisco, yes!" Star Trek heaven. Right?
We all would have done it. We all
Who
would
the
have taken
hell
the
doesn't
opportunity
want
to
right?
be on the bridge of Kirk. And
Who doesn't wanna shake that man's hand or at least meet him face to face? Damn straight. Bye-bye.
he's looking at him like, you seriously would have violated the time directive to meet Kirk. Yep. And the only appearance of Quark in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's perfect.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And I love how at the end there with the music, how they blend both the Star Trek theme with the Deep Space Nine theme.
Yes. I mean, this episode just wow. To me, it's just it's near perfect, if not perfect. I love it. It's
It's
so good.
it's absolutely perfect. I mean, I know I've been saying it over and over again, but it seamlessly blends the original series with Deep Space Nine. It shows love for the franchise as a whole. It doesn't
Yeah.
look at the original series like, oh yeah, it's you.
And it's like it's not even like they're paying homage. It's like they're saying, "Okay, we came from you. We are the same thing." You know what I mean? You were the OGs. You started it.
Mhm.
It's blending itself into that world, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And it makes me go, oh, okay, well then I could trust Deep Space Nine with the care of the lore and the origins of how that show even came into being and those characters and where they came from. Because what he did is he just made a memory. Because when he comes back to, his present time, Kirk's gone, long gone.
Mm-hmm.
But Kirk probably remembered him at some point, or that he made a memory for Kirk and he made a memory for himself. And it can really directly connects them to that universe. And I know they are, but it's just that little detail. When you start thinking about that little attention to detail, like they put in this entire episode and, pretty much this series of it, which is why I love it so much.
And don't thank me, Lady Miss. Thank Arwen for selecting the episode.
Oh, it's a fantastic one. And, and honestly, it's a very popular one. I think a lot of people love it. If it's not one of their favorites, at least they get a good laugh out of it. Because you can kick back, and even at the end, you still get your Star Trek tension. You still get your moment of, oh, they got to find it, and they've got 15 seconds to do it, which we all love, and then their 5-10 minute kind of wrap up. But yeah, it's a fun episode, and the original one for that series too is a fun episode.
It is. It's like I said to you in Steven's chat earlier. It's an episode where by the end of it, you have a smile on your face because you had a good time watching it.
Yeah. And it's that one, it's that go-to. If someone wants to watch something from the series and they want a feel-good episode, that's the one. So, yeah, I agree, Leros. And another thing that kind of won me to the series before this point, and that led up to by the time I saw this, it kind of, like I said, it solidified all the Star Treks together for me. Mm-hmm. And I got it. I totally understood it. Is the way that this series treats religion. Because, you have the Bajoran faith, which is very much a fundamental to who they are. It's not just kind of, yeah, you got some that do this and some that do that. It's kind of, you do have your sects, sects of the faith, but it's very fundamental to the people. And they have their rituals and they have their beliefs, and they're pretty firm in the beliefs, but it's treated respectfully. It's treated, they're not, until Kai Wen comes around, and not that it's not, she was just a nut job, and I appreciated that. There were the nut jobs. She was the one who tried to twist the faith for her needs, and she got, manipulated by Mr. Cardassian boy there. But just in general, the way they treat faith and the way they treated beliefs and the way they treated, other people dealing with other beliefs, I thought was really well done. And they did keep it respectful.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even in Next Generation, they had mentioned, just because you don't agree with their beliefs doesn't mean you should disrespect their beliefs. Listen to them, learn from them.
Right. And they didn't. And the show didn't already pick a side and present to you either positively or negatively their perspective. They kind of just tried to show you whatever it was they created to show it to you, and then you decide, is this for you or this isn't? Whatever the situation was, or however, a faith was shown.
Did they make the right decision in this episode, that episode, or the other? I know one episode that gets brought up a lot because a lot of people have different opinions on it, and it's from Voyager, and it's Tuvix. Mm-hmm. Did Janeway have the right to kill one life form to bring back two?
Yeah, I know. That is... Yeah, because he was a fusion of them both, but he was still his own unique being. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, come on, you need to go so we can get the other two back. And it's like, well, do I not have a say? I am unique. Yes, I know I'm them together, but I am unique. I am me. What are you trying? You have to kill me to get them. And it's a moral quandary. What would you do in whichever position you were in? What would you want? And it's what it makes it so brilliant.
Cisco had to make tough decisions too. When it came to In the Pale Moonlight, we're losing this war. Even with the Klingons' help, we're still losing this war. We need a third party in this war on our side.
Yeah. We're at a crossroads here. It's about survival.
And Sisko's ultimate choice was, I'm going to find a way to bring the Romulans into this war. And, prophets help me if anyone ever finds out.
Yeah, he made a choice. That is what you call a choice. Because that's kind of whichever way he went, there was gravity to the situation. He wasn't getting out of any of it unscathed. You know what I mean? It was like, ooh, what do we do? Do we get smothered, or do we call the Romulans? What do we do? And that's a choice, because it's the Romulans.
And when it comes to this episode, they have choices to make. Well, we're back here in this time. We got to stop Arwen Darvin from killing Captain Kirk. Otherwise, if he manages to kill Kirk, then that changes our future. Not just our history, but our own future.
The whole damn bushel of apples is going to be upturned. So it was and look how they handled it, though. You have this really life or death situation that they're going into, but they're throwing them into OG Star Trek, and we are just like, yes. And then we know the Tribbles are there. We know, we see the Klingons, and we see what else is Worf going to say. Perfect answer. You see,
we did not discuss it with outsiders, and
yeah, exactly. And he's like, leave it at that. Okay. And we know what the Klingons are like. If not, we find out right there and then. And Odo bonding with a Tribble. I mean, it's just all of these really light, humorous elements that they manage to give you and let you relax and not have to think too hard and just enjoy the characters, enjoy their personalities, enjoy the lightness of the story. And then they bring it back around to that moment where it's like, oh, crap, we need to do this. Where there's a little more urgency. And then it's fun again. And it ends on such a light, fun note.
Yeah. And you mentioned Odo, and how it does show his lighter side. He's able to poke fun at Worf, not be so serious and, going by his rules like he does, 99.9% of the time.
Because to Odo, it's absolutely ridiculous. And let's face it, Odo comes across as pretty prickly because, he's a very much by the law kind of guy. And you get to see this beautiful moment. He's always the butt of their jokes and shit. And he gets to see Worf, this prune drinking warrior, afraid of literally a 6-inch ball of fluff, and talk about the Great Klingon War. And we get to see Odo amused. We get to see him like, what? No, shut up.
This made you guys go to war and obliterate their homeworld.
This is what makes the Great Klingon Empire of Kahless just quiver in their bones? Are you kidding?
This is what keeps you up at night?
And I loved that. I'm like, Odo does have he has a sensitive side because he is sitting there holding a cooing Tribble. You have to just be dead inside to not let that touch you. And then he gets amused and just like, what the hell? And sees Worf. I think he sees Worf a little more, if you pardon the expression, human. A little, a little more ridiculous, a little more on his level. And I love that. And I find that in every single one of these characters. You get to know a little bit more about them. You get to see a little bit more, The
characters are more fleshed out, more developed in cases like this.
And they have that chance to breathe because it's not a heavy episode. It's not like you could show Dax fangirling over the thought of meeting Spock and trying to convince, don't you want to be Kirk? Come on, let's do it.
Come on, I want to meet. Come on, Benjamin. I want to meet Koloff in his prime. Come on,
Koloff. Sorry, Koloff. Right, you can't, and fawning all over Spock's pretty eyes in the middle of, oh my God, we got 40 seconds to find this Tribble with a bomb. We're gonna die. You have to space it out, and they spaced it out beautifully. And you got to see what a little fangirl she is about things like this because of her lived experience, Oh my God. And you even see Cisco at the end. Cisco is doing his own. Oh my God, it's Kirk.
Yeah. I've got to meet Kirk. Kirk in his prime. I mean, wouldn't you have loved to have been in the writer's room when they were coming up with this episode?
I lost my shit when I saw that the first time. I was like, yes, the two favorite captains right there for me, for me and my husband, because he loves Cisco too. But I mean, it was just so well done. So well done. They didn't have to get an actor to play Kirk. They didn't have to, redo lines. They just took from the original and blended it seamlessly is the word of the night, because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a privilege to watch it. I'm serious. To me, it's some of the best Star Trek has to offer.
And I highly recommend anybody who, may not be a fan of Star Trek, go and watch the original series. Go watch Trouble with Tribbles. Get all the way through the original series, the animated series, the movies, Next Generation. Deep Space Nine. When you get to this episode, you will have a better appreciation for the original series.
You will. And if you have watched no Star Trek at all, this is the episode, or at least if you want to say Deep Space Nine, you've never seen Deep Space Nine, and you're not sure if you're going to like it or any Star Trek, this is one of the episodes to watch. Because you don't have to know who anybody is, because through this episode and the interaction with the past, you learn pretty quickly, like with O'Brien messing with the cords and talking about the engineering. You learn pretty quick he's the engineer of the group. Bashir, the doctor. Are you a doctor? You learn pretty quick. Cisco's, the head cheese. You learn pretty quick, Dax is old. You may not know how, but she's old. She's been around for a while. So you learn a lot about them and a fun part about them in a very short amount of time. And you see the kind of the two sides of Star Trek, mostly the light, but it's, it shows you it can have fun and it could be very good writing. And then go back to the original series and watch The Trouble with Tribbles, and it'll all fall into place. And then once those two episodes, I think, are good enough to hook people that have no experience with Star Trek, at least to get them to say, wow, this is cool. Maybe I'll watch more.
Yeah, that's the thing with this being a standalone episode, because it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you mentioned, pros for it. I mentioned pros for it, where they give you some information in the beginning of the episode. You get information as the episode goes on. You're not lost.
You're not. You're engaged. You are, especially when you get to the Klingons. I mean, yes, it's obvious that they've blended an older series with the newer one. It's obvious the Klingons have had a makeover when you see what Worf looks like, and then you see the originals. Again, even if you have no experience, the way they handle it is actually brilliant. It's very intelligent, because we're able to laugh at that instead of, them playing it serious and it being like us being like, now, wait a minute, hang on. What the hell happened here? You're trying to tell me y'all are the same. What? No, come on. But the way they play it is so tongue in cheek, and you're able to laugh at it because they do not look the same at all.
But you also,
it's funny.
You also understand, especially us as Star Trek fans, that because of budget constraints on the original series, they couldn't afford to do the prosthetic makeup like they could in the later movies and later series.
Of course. But your average person is not going to know that.
No.
They're just going to see, Worf with his ridges and his long flowing hair and his badge and his, oh, look at me, I'm so strong, I drink prune juice. They're going to see that version Klingon. And then they're going to see, the barber down the street with the human haircut. Mm-hmm. And, they don't look the same, but they're the tough guys. They are the Klingons. And if you don't have that connection, you might be like, what the hell's going on here? But Worf's answer allows you to laugh at it, allows you to enjoy it, and it stops every discussion in its tracks. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about it with outsiders, bitches. Back off. Not open for discussion. And it's like, oh my God, okay, I can laugh at that. I think that's brilliant. Yeah. They don't talk about it. Something happened. They don't talk about it. It's all good.
It's a need to know basis, and you don't need to know. And we didn't need to know. They could have, like I said,
Yeah,
and I
and
will say on this hill
it
that
makes
they
it feel
did
like we're
not need
in
to
on the show.
talk about it on Enterprise. Yeah.
Yeah, we are in on the joke. That allows us in on the joke. And then for those that are in the know, yeah, that it's like, well, come on, that's comparing apples and oranges now, because you can't really, it's because of the budget cuts or constraints that they had and all, and because one is further down the road, bigger budget, blah blah blah. Of course, they're going to look different and more detailed and more fleshed out by then. So but at the same time, you look at those Klingons and how fierce they're supposed to be. You just want to giggle. Because, my Klingon is Morphin Gang, not them, because I didn't grow up with them. They're the new Klingons to me, so to speak. They handled it brilliantly this whole episode. Oh, really? So good. Oh, y'all, I can't remember which episode it is, which sucks. But one of my favorite scenes in it is when Worf is, I don't know if he's on vacation. I don't remember what the hell he is. But he's in the bar with the woman, and he demands, you know any Klingon opera? We don't get many requests for that around here. And then she sings the Klingon opera, and he starts singing too. What do you remember? What episode that is?
If my memory serves me
God.
correctly, I think that was Unification Part 2.
Oh God, that whole scene that's what put me on a Worf train, and that got me interested to dig more into who the hell are Klingons. Is Worf an anomaly, or are they all like him? I mean, what the hell was shit like that? You got to see another side of them. Now, maybe that's not Worf's quote unquote softer side, but we know Klingon opera touches him, and we know what it sounds like. So it's things like that they throw in like that throughout the season that are just make the character so endearing.
And I've actually seen some of those blooper reels, and they're available on YouTube to watch, for Michael Dorn's trying to, say his lines, but because of the teeth, he keeps messing up, and they're giving him a hard time. And by there, I'm referring to the director and his castmates giving him a hard time because he's messing up a line. And
I wonder how heavy that headpiece and wig he had to wear was. By the end of the next gen, his hair was pretty fully fleshed out and grown. It wasn't short anymore. It was long, and it looked kind of, not ropey, but it looked textured. It was wavy. It looked really wavy and heavy. And I used to think, how heavy is all that on his head?
I don't recall him ever saying that when I went to a Star Trek convention when I lived in San Diego and he was there. And he was talking about it. He did talk about how they had to change the makeup because it was damaging his skin with the way the prosthetic was done, and so they had to change it. And
so that's why he has this little bit of an evolution there. Because he does look different from season 1 to his ultimate. Now, some of that might be by purposeful design, but some of it obviously was a problem for him. I thought they did a great job, though. I thought he ended up looking really good. And I think the rest of the Klingons, they kind of took I know they had Klingons before, but I'm just saying from that point on, they were all pretty detailed, like very detailed.
Yeah, they were. And between
their head ridges and shit are very individual.
And, between Michael Dorn portraying Worf and other actors portraying other Klingons from Next Generation on, and Ronald D. Moore's involvement into writing, basically the whole Klingon faith system, they really were able to flesh out the Klingons in general.
Yeah, they kind of ceased to be the background enemy, or the enemy that was possibly your frenemy, but you didn't know. And every once in a while, they'd throw one at us or throw a storyline where, ooh, shocker, they're the bad guy. They really dropped that. And, as you say, they fleshed them out as a society, as a religion, as a warrior caste. They really did. They poured their time and energy. And I think that's very heavily the reason why there's so many people now that can speak Klingon. because they are fucking cool. The Klingons are cool, and we like their unpredictability. And it really started fleshing out about this time.
Yeah, because there were copies of the Klingon dictionary where you could actually look through it and find what certain words were supposed to be in Klingon.
Yes,
you could do it and help write the language.
They have Klingon classes, y'all,
mm-hmm.
where you can learn Klingon. And I mean serious study. I don't mean to sound disrespectful at all, because it takes balls to learn a new language, human or otherwise. But this is, and it is a cool sounding language. And they pepper it throughout Star Trek, so we learn sprinkled some here and there if we pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we would have subtitles for it. Other times it's like, what does that word mean?
Right. And I'm sorry, but you can't have a fully fleshed out language without a society behind it. Because how can you shape modern colloquialisms and certain phrases that have double meanings, or how can you shape that without knowing the mind and thoughts of the society? You know what I'm saying? And they did all that. It was all done.
And we've learned as the different shows have gone on that for certain words in the Klingon language there is no translation.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because what if there's something that exists on their world, or an action or an animal or whatever, that we have no concept of, and it doesn't exist in our world? How the hell are you going to translate that?
You're not going to be able to.
What is the animal that Worf had? What do they call those big
Targs?
My God. I've been trying to think of that all day, and I just did not want to Google it. I'm like, no, that's cheating. I want to remember it. I know it. And I could not remember it. Yes, Targs. Well, what the hell is a Targ? I mean, it's not like saying, oh, well, that's their version of dog. Is it? Is it a version of our wolf? Is it what the hell is it? It's that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So we have to use their word for it. Martok's Targ ran away. God, yes, a Targ.
And see, that was another thing I enjoyed, especially in the 50s and Deep Space Nine, is when they started working on the friendship between Worf and Martok.
Yes, it did. Okay, and I'm going to use this language because what the hell? I'm a girl. I can use it. It showed the softer side of two, especially two Klingon men, two warriors, two, the one that has established himself that was kind of fading, and the other that was, the one coming up, but he had his own baggage. It showed in that warrior race, and that all about honor, all about, what is the word? Not privilege, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Like respect, loyalty. Mm-hmm. Your word is your bond. You don't break that. If you do, you're a traitor, and then you can become a blood traitor. And it gets to be a mess. But I mean, they stand by their word. To see the softer side, and to see these two men have these moments where it's like, look, this is our society, and this is what we're about. And I see you fading. You need to let it go. And the other one, like, no, I got to hold on to this. And to see that push and pull in that relationship, again, you got that a lot with the Klingons. Now that I think about it.
Not only that, you also had Martok pushing Worf to do things, Worf pushing Martok to do things that Martok didn't want to do. It's like, that's what friends do. It's like, you got to do this or not.
And we're watching it through their culture's way of doing it. Does that make sense? Because there is so much, to us, it's like, dude, you see your mentor, you see your friend, or you see someone you look up to going through something so bad, or going through whatever, you talk straight to them. And, for us, it's a little bit easier. And because for the other person, if you have that kind of relationship, or you're building that relationship, to say, okay, hey, I hear you. They didn't want to hear it. Do you know what I mean? And to see that kind of come together,
because
and we saw that a lot in the Klingon relationships. We saw it from their culture's point of view.
I'm
from
going to
their
say
hang-ups.
in the Klingon culture, you don't want to bring dishonor to the
Right,
house
you don't
of
want to be
Martok
seen of
or
weak.
the house of Mogan.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That meant more to them than life. More to them than life. And to see that kind of, influence go in there. And another episode that's one of my favorites. I almost picked it, but I was like, no, it's let's go something a little more, I think that everyone would like, is the wedding of Jadzia and Worf.
Mhm.
And here she is, and her future mother-in-law, adoptive mother-in-law, is about to show up and rip her a new one unless she gets everything right. And they have a ritual for everything they do when it comes to the bride. And here she is not Klingon, so already that's strike one against her in the family's eyes, or at least, the head wife's eyes, the matriarch's eyes. And she's the one everyone's got it, because he's afraid of her too. They're all afraid of her.
Mhm.
Because she,
Yeah, lady, I think it was Cirilla. I might be wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me, somebody.
Yeah, she is like the dragon coming to observe her future daughter-in-law. And is her future daughter-in-law good enough for her son, her adoptive son? And if not, well, she gets to say. I mean, that's the attitude she has coming into this. And you learn about that. It's not just the men that have their culture and their way of doing things. It's the women too. And these Klingon women are not to be messed with.
Yeah, because she comes in, sees Dax's bachelorette party, and
Right.
she doesn't approve of everything that's going on, because
And there's
it's not
nothing
the way
salacious
for
going on.
a future wife to behave, especially a future wife of a Klingon.
Right. And that the ceremonial candles that she used to greet her, she was pissed because Dax actually didn't. When she told Worf, she's like, what, she expect me to? Yeah, like, I'm going to go ahead and go and kill this creature. I'm going to boil its shoulders for tallow. I'm going to take that tallow, purify it, blah, 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 make a candle. And she really expects me to do all that. And it's like, yes, she did. She absolutely 1,000%.
She didn't want you to replicate that candle.
And
she
knew
wanted
right
to be
away
authentic.
it was a fake. Right away. So again, it is that episode, even though, yeah, it is about the wedding, of course, of those two, it is very Klingon heavy in their traditions, in who they are as people, what they expect of you if you want to join them. And it fascinates me. It just fascinates me. And this series really did that. So that's something else why it's one of my favorite series. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's 1,000 reasons. But that's one of them. So in other words, I get why people learn Klingon, because it is cool. It is cool.
It's very cool language. I mean, one of the words I know I was using a lot to describe people sometimes, especially when they hit my buttons. It's like, oh.
Yes. Oh my God. Can we talk for a minute about their food?
Sure.
Their food has their own personality. Their food, is it gak?
Yeah, gak is best when served live.
It's squirming on the plate, but the squirmier it is, the better they like it. What? That to me is up there with the Kardashians drinking. I almost said Kardashians. Oh my God. Yeah, well, a dime a dozen. With the Kardashians drinking warm fish juice for breakfast. No, it's never going to happen.
All right,
but it reminds us of how alien they really are. It reminds us how alien they really are to us.
I don't know if I should tell this story. Oh, heck, I'm going to tell it anyway. But when I was growing up, I'd already seen the season 2 episode where Riker goes over to the Klingon ship, and he's eating gak. So whatever my family would get Chinese, I would be asked, "What do you want, Mike?" I want pork lo mein, but I would call it gak.
It is the noodles. The noodles, they're like gak. Oh my God, I will never eat that again without thinking of you and your gak. But yeah, they've got their own.
It's a meal of a warrior, Arwood. You are not a true Klingon if you do not eat it.
I'm okay with that. Oh my God. You know what? I will drink prune juice. That's about as far as I would go. I ain't eating that. Oh my God. And what is it? It's Uhura. It's in oh God, it's the sixth one, the Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
When they all come over and the one guy's
When
like,
they come over to the Enterprise, the one guy's just shoving the food in his mouth, and
do you like
it's dangling there.
It's dangling, and she's like, oh yeah, trying not to make a face. No. I would need Romulan wine to get through that dinner too.
What warrior doesn't eat his gut with his fingers?
That's the only proper Klingon way to eat it. Yeah. You ain't even trying if you don't eat it with your fingers. As far as they're
doing it without a boss.
Oh my God. Anyway, I'm sorry. I know I'm geeking out, but it's
it's fine, Arwen. We've had episodes where we've talked about the ships for hours. Well, not hours, but we've talked about the ships at length. We've talked about different episodes at length. We've talked about what we would have done if we wrote the episode, if we were in charge of the series to a certain extent. And
yeah, because it's all fascinating. It really is. And this season, and again, this episode, again, in particular, solidified it, but it really threw me into the entire world. I wasn't just satisfied with having seen Next Gen and having seen this one. I needed to go back and see the original because I'm like, what am I doing? Got to take care of the OGs. And I knew the movies by that point. I'd seen the movies. I loved Voyage Home. But I still had not seen the original series. I'd never sat down and paid attention. I still, I guess, in the back of my mind thought it is, too nerdy for me. I wouldn't understand it. Too sciencey. Oh God, how wrong I was. It has all those things, but it tackles the big things like faith, religion, societal norms, morality. What's right? What's wrong? Who's right? Who's wrong? That kind of nerdy shit that really turns my crank. Let's get into the philosophy and the meat of it. I love that.
That reminds me of one of my friends in high school. She had a boyfriend, but she and I were friends, and she knew I was into Star Trek. And there was one day she asked me, "Are you so into Star Trek?" I said, "Because of its positive look at the future, what we could be, and the messages it tries to tell us all during an episode." So she starts watching the Star Trek, starts getting into Star Trek, and then she asked me, "Do you have any books?" I said, "Yes."
Yeah. Yes, the books.
So she starts reading a couple of my books, and every time she would hand me back my book, she says, "Do you have another one?" "Yes."
See? It's the way it starts.
Yeah, you never know who's going to become a Star Trek fan. But one thing I do want to show everybody, because I think season 5 of Deep Space Nine has probably the best episodes of a particular season. And I'll just bring it up here since I have this still pulled up from watching Trials and Tribble-ations. But, one of the good episodes of Deep Space Nine's 5th season is Rocks and Shoals.
Oh, yes.
Where they find that Jem'Hadar ship.
Yes.
And there's that standoff between Sisko and the Jem'Hadar. The Vorta comes, tries to negotiate the release of the ship. And long story short, we find out there was a founder on board who was dying, and that's why the Jem'Hadar were trying to get to it.
Yes, and that kicks off an entire storyline that just, the Jem'Hadar.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is, and see, and that to me is a meaty, what I would call a meaty episode. It is, not one I might now because I know the storyline, but it's not one I might just throw up just to view, just because I feel like watching, because it is, because you pay attention.
I'm sorry, it's on season 6. I meant season 5. I thought I had it still selected on season 5. That's my bad, folks. That's my bad.
Still so good.
You can blame me.
It's so good.
But yeah, it's the ship. The ship is the one that we were just talking about, where the Jem'Hadar. Long story short is that they were trying to get to a founder who was on board this Jem'Hadar ship, and by the end of the episode, the founder ends up dying. Rocks and Shoals is a follow-up in season 6 to that episode, where they actually crash land while using that same Jem'Hadar ship, and it's a standstill by the end of it. But this is a good episode.
My God, that's a whole nother thing they have to deal with. It's just like,
this is another good episode from season 5 of Deep Space Nine, Nor the Battle to the Strong, and it's one where Bashir and Jake are on this planet. It's during the Federation Klingon War, and Jake experiences the trauma of war, and what it leads to. And I think this is an episode that ultimately makes Jake decide he doesn't want to join Starfleet.
I agree with you on that. And it's like because look at his dad. It's just, he talked about it, blah, blah, blah. Kind of expected of him at this point. And then to have that change. Yeah. Again, it shows the character's growth. It shows the character not standing still. It shows the character, and he's not just the kid character. He sees, he starts coming into his own thought process.
Yeah. I mean, you have the Rapture where Sisko starts seeing vision, starts talking about, Locust and coming for Bajor. And as we scroll down here, of course, in Purgatory's Shadow and also by Infernal's Light, 2 great episodes that basically, by the end of it, Cardassia has joined the Dominion.
Yes. Oh my God. Looking at those stills, I'm like, I know those moments.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. For us, for fans like us, we could just see a still. And even if our brain's foggy and bringing up the name of the episode, we know what episode it's from and we know what happened in the episode.
Because I tell you what, I know the names of very few of these. Like off, like if you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. But you show me pictures, I'm like, oh yeah. I'm good. I know it. Absolutely.
Well, just like Dr. Bashir, I presume. I mean, just seeing the picture of Dr. Bashir with his parents, I know that that's the episode where we find out that Dr. Bashir is an augment, like Khan was.
How do you feel about that? What is your opinion on that?
Honestly, I think they could have found a different way to develop Julian's character.
I kind of like the idea that he was just someone who was challenged in his youth, but found his niche in medicine, and that he just blossomed, and his brilliance came out. I liked the idea of being a normal human. I don't know how I feel about him being an augment. You know what I mean? I can live with it. I can live with it, but I just thought it was cooler that he was just someone who was a very late bloomer.
Yeah.
Or who who was awkward socially as a kid or something. It just, I don't know. That's where I thought they had were raising him to be. And then again, I can live with this, but I like the idea that he was just human and just late bloomer brilliant.
And that's why I think it sort of cheapens his growth when you find out that he's an augment like Khan, and he's had to hide his brilliance the whole time.
Yeah, I do too. And then to me, if he had just been an extraordinarily brilliant person, his interactions with the others, those 3, wasn't it 2 guys and a woman or 3 men and a woman? And he had to kind of, the one was always about probability. And the other one was, I forget what she did, but she was the sex kitten. And then they had they had all of those augments there, and because he was one, and he was monitoring them, and I forget exactly what they were doing. To me, it would have meant more if he had not been one, but been the only one really brilliant enough to get on their level and kind of get their frequency where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So he had to kind of be the one to work with them. Plus, he could medically, monitor them. I would have loved that, but anyway, we didn't get that. So, but I could live without it. I'm okay. I still love the series.
I love it too, and I don't know if this is a favorite of yours for season 5, but it's a favorite of mine. Is Soldiers of the Empire, where they're on board the Rotaran. The crew, they've been battered, they've been beat, they've suffered one loss after another.
Yeah.
And Jadzia and Worf are on board, and they can feel the tension besides seeing the tension. And it just takes one victory for them to realize hope is not lost. And, especially at the end when they start saying, Koi Kaila's Poo Glow.
Oh, God, I know. I love that part. And this is the one that I was talking about. When I was talking about Martok and Worf having to have that really Klingon moment where one leader is not doing what he needs to do because he can't. He's no longer really, what the hell? How do you say that as the up-and-comer, but at the same time, you love this being, you love this Klingon, you care about him, but you got to be honest with him. It shows that the whole thing shows their society, shows their morality, shows their what they are willing to basically draw their line in the sand. And that is no longer being that warrior that they always were, because then in their mind, everything fades, everything falls. That great house that once was, that's just not even a vocabulary in their vocabulary.
Well, when you think about Soldiers of the Empire in particular, you have this crew that's been battered, beaten, and defeated. But you also look at it from their perspective. Here they are. They're having, a new captain in Martok on board the Rotaran. And they're disgusted in him because he allowed himself to be captured by the Dominion.
Right.
And he didn't kill himself.
Right.
Which is Klingon tradition.
Right. That's societal Klingon right there. And we learn that. Boom. Absolutely.
And I do like Children of Time. It's where the crew ends up seeing other versions of their own crew from generations, and Odo's there.
Yeah, that to me, it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
It's one of those episodes that I always think, oh God, here we are. We have to watch this one. Crap. This is kind of heavy. This is bittersweet. Do I really? And I like bitching my mind about it 5 minutes, but I don't want to miss it because I like to binge them in order. And then I end up watching it and I always enjoy it more than I think I will. I'm always like, okay, I get it. It is, wow, what would you want to do? What would you do if you met your future descendants? You met your whatevers. And seeing this, and seeing how the family is and the culture has changed. And I don't know, would you want to see? I don't know that I would want to see that.
I don't know that I want to experience that.
I don't know if I would. But then when I see them doing it, I'm like, oh my God, that's really cool. And I do. I'm with you on that one. I always dread it. And then when I get to it, I'm like, yeah, I like this. I'm glad I watched it.
And of course, Blaze of Glory, that's an episode, a great episode where you see the dynamic between Michael Eddington and Sisko. And they're trying to find the remnants of the Maquis after the Maquis was wiped out from existence by the Dominion.
Yeah.
And just the exchange between the two of them. They don't like each other.
No, they don't. See, and that's the thing about Sisko. Okay, he gets it, but at the same time, he's like, you're not cool. I don't get it. And he's still in this situation. They had to be together. They had to work together. They couldn't help it. So you had to put that bullshit aside, both y'all, and let's focus on what's important.
especially near the end when they're under attack by the Jem'Hadar, and Eddington's got to make it sound like there's more than just Cisco and him there.
Right. Can I just side quest for a moment and say any episode that Jem'Hadar was in, I was there for it. They're so interesting to me, and I feel so bad for them. That they keep them addicted. They have to have that, or it's just I don't know. It's like that kind of slave society. I'm like, but they're these big warriors, these big.
They're bred to fight.
Yeah, that's their sole purpose. To fight.
And in order to keep control of them, is the founders have to give them cell white.
It's without like they are their army of gladiators. They're like they're gladiators. They have no say. They are bred. Not gladiators were necessarily bred for it. I mean, some could have been. I don't know. But the men that they had, once you were gladiator, you weren't just free to do your own shit. You had to please the emperor. You were basically a slave. You had to fight who you wanted you to fight. And then the Jem'Hadar are addicted to this shit because of it. And I don't know. I feel so bad for them. I really do. And the founders are they're all fascinating. And the storylines get really involved. The way Cisco and them are drawn into it, it's like, damn.
Just think if they didn't have that drug to control them.
You're right.
Be worse than the Klingons, true.
I know. And I keep thinking, well, maybe they could change. I don't know. And the founders are so freaking haughty. They're fascinating, but they just, some of them, Weyoun. Oh my God. They're just so smug. They're so smug. I would love to see the Jem'Hadar get their one up on them. I was waiting for it. But.
I mean, that's why anytime they killed off a version of Weyoun, it's like, good.
I love it. Yes, you see, this is why. Oh, Jem'Hadar Weyoun's on. Oh, everybody get the hell out of my way. I want to be front and center. Because the episodes were great. They kept killing. We're like, so good.
And then, of course, you have Call to Arms. That's when there's that massive battle between the Dominion Cardassian fleet and Deep Space Nine. And Deep Space Nine is actually standing on its own. And, the Defiant's out there trying to lay the mines. But I think one of my favorite parts of that episode, I mean, there are a lot of favorite parts, but one of my favorite parts of that episode was near the end when you see the Rotaran and the Defiant flying toward the massive fleet of Federation and Klingon ships. And we've never seen anything like that in that scale on TV before.
Right? And by this point, we are all invested. Anyone who genuinely enjoys the show is invested. And it's like, damn. And with me, the more I watch the series, the more I learn. It is tons of lore. There's a lot of lore in this.
Oh, there's a lot of lore in all of Star Trek. And that's why, when somebody asks me about certain episodes, it's like, no, wait, I'm confusing that episode with this episode.
Right. And I absolutely adore it, but I sometimes I just can't keep it all straight. But watching it more, every time I watch it, I learn a little bit more solidifies, or it can, something connects and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Oh, okay, I get it. Or, oh, this thread, oh, that's what I was missing. Things make more sense now. And I just enjoy it over and over and over. And I like, with some shows, if you watch them too much, even if you love them, you kind of burn out on them and you have to and then 10 years go down the road and you're still good. Not this one. This one, I like the fact that every time I watch it, I come prepared. I come already knowing who they are and what they're about. And it just doesn't diminish it for me. And then I learn more shit about them.
Well, it's like, you mentioned the intro that I did earlier. Yeah. When I was doing that, I was thinking, I want to do this in such a way where you would feel like you're watching the next Star Trek series in proper Star Trek.
Yes. I could see that. Because it was just very respectful, very Star Trek, very, wasn't trying to, because I'm sorry, is it Enterprise that has the freaky folk tune?
Yes, it is
What?
Enterprise.
Okay, who
I,
the hell? That's putting your own stamp on something that was neither wanted, asked for, or welcomed. Even though some people like it, why change it?
and yet they had a theme that they used at the end for the end credits. Archer's theme is what it was called.
Yes.
And they could have used that
Why
for
not
the
use
opening
that?
theme.
Thank you.
And instead they used the song from Patch Adams. It's been a long road.
Oh my God. Save the
Like,
Sappy Tree
no.
Hugger song for the end. Save it for the end. Swap
Or don't use it at all.
or don't use it. Yeah, if you must use the song, if you owe someone a favor, okay, tack it on somewhere. Use it as a short background to maybe in one of their rooms or something. They're listening to vintage music, whatever. But my God, that to me is putting your stamp on something that is just not Star Trek. You kept it Star Trek, and it's beautifully done. And the quote, the Roddenberry quote, I mean, yeah, you did a great job. I seriously, I was touched. And and it made me think of like Clobby, made me think of Bird of Prey, made me think of Tron.
I'm gonna let everybody know they were the main reason why I quit for Absent Friends. Because
Yes.
when I was coming up
Yes.
with this idea, I didn't want to disrespect anything that they had done. I didn't want to disrespect them or anyone who is currently talking about Star Trek. And it's like, okay, I know we all love this fandom. I know we all come from this different points of view when it comes to this particular fandom, when it comes to Star Trek. But I still want to pay respect to those who came before me talking about Star Trek on YouTube, or those who are still talking about Star Trek on YouTube.
Well, brother, you nailed it, because as soon as I saw that to Absent Friends, they were the first ones that popped in my mind. And then I started thinking about other members of the community that were lost. And then I started thinking about the fandom as a whole. And just that, as I'm watching it, I'm like, you know what? We all have our favorite captain. We all have our favorite ship. We all have our favorite series. We all have things we love about it. We all have things we're going to argue about it. And some of us will argue for filth on things and will not budge. But at the end of the day, we love this IP. We love these Forerunner series. We understand it, we respect it, and we get other people that understand it and respect it. I don't have to know anything about you, and you can, and we could be talking, and you can say, oh yeah, I'm a Star Trek fan, or oh yeah, I love, whatever. Particularly in these early ones, and I'm going to have something to talk with you about. We're going to have a good conversation, because I'm going to be like, really? Me too. And then it's like, kind of finding a pen pal. And in some cases, an old friend you never knew you had.
It is, because I mean, Barrett and I have talked about this on Pop Talk, where we get people into a room, you, Loki, Gary from Pop Culture Minefield, Keith from Pop Culture Minefield, DJ Ronnie G, and so many other people. We could all get into a room and come up with a 26, 24 episode season right then and there. And if we have any problems with how the stories are coming out, say we're arguing about something, well, then sharpen your batleth and let's have some practice. Then afterwards, we'll drink some blood wine.
Yes, absolutely. Or Romulan ale. Let's break out the illegal stuff. But yeah, that's exactly it. You always, and you understand there is a part of you and someone else that gets it, that sees the bigger picture of this. And I got all of that through your intro. So you nailed it. You paid that respect, that homage, and to not just fans, and not just the fans that we knew and lost, but to the series as a whole. So well done. Seriously, well done. It was very touching. It was good.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for fans of Star Trek and for people who aren't familiar with Star Trek to show that this is what Star Trek truly is. Not what we're getting currently. What
Yeah.
you're seeing tonight is what Star Trek is. What you saw, a couple weeks ago when we watched and talked about Caretaker. That's what Star Trek is. A piece of the action. That is what Star Trek is.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And it has like the common thread that everybody gets and everybody understands, and then it has the individual things that it brings to people. Me, like I said, girly girl, I like the girls, I like the tribbles, I do like the action, but the more I watch it, the more I see this is gonna sound silly, but the more I cease to see it through the girly eyes or the woman eyes and what the things I just kind of initially drew me to it, and I start seeing it for what it is. And it's brilliant writing, and it's brilliant characters, and it's respectful to where it came from. And it makes you think. And some episodes will depress you. Some episodes will bum you out. Some episodes will make you laugh. Some episodes will make you roll your eyes and go, oh my God. Really? And some will make you go, oh my God, really? Like any episode that the Ferengi and Moogie are in, and Zeki, I am like, get me the popcorn. Y'all get out of my way. Moogie and Zeki are on the screen. I love the Ferengis. Who would have thought? They're
one of my favorite Ferengi episodes from DS9 is the Magnificent Ferengi.
I mean, they are fantastic. Are they annoying? Yes. Are they little trolls? 1,000%. But they are who they are, and the show is like, we're not apologetic about who they are. This is it's like, yes, they are greedy AF. They are, and they're okay with that. They don't care that you're not. And the whole, oh my God, the women have to run around naked. I'm like, what?
I don't want to see Ferengi women naked. No. Sorry, I don't.
And but we get to see we get modern day Ferengi feminism. The one episode about the chick who has to enlarge her lobes and wears the guy's dress so people take her seriously for whatever I can't remember what she was, engineer, whatever. She was doing something on the ship, and they had to not with Starfleet, but they had to take her seriously. So she was a business person. That's what it was. She sold shit, and she weren't allowed to do that as a woman. And then Quark finds out, they fall in love, and then, but she's in clothes when they have company, but she's dressed as a woman, and he's like, take those things off right now. Well, we have company coming. And she's like, no. And Mookie starts wearing clothes. I mean, we see the Ferengi feminism. It's hysterical.
I remember in this second season episode where, that female Ferengi's on board, and she's dressed up as a male Ferengi, and when Quark's kissing her, he removes her ears, and he finds out that she's a female, and he's disgusted.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. And he's like, "What? What?" Because it's a female, not a woman Ferengi or female Ferengi, but a female, a worthless female. It's like, oh my God,
he's a female. She doesn't deserve the honor of clothing.
And right. They don't deserve the honor of clothing. Exactly. And then we see these Ferengi females start standing up saying, excuse me, I'm the brain behind this operation, remember? Because she was the brilliant one.
Moogie was the one that was helping Grand Negus and Zek keep Ferenginar from crumbling.
Yes, Moogie. Yes. So to me, that was great. It was really cool to see these episodes focus solely on the aliens, if you will. And, look, that their society's terrible. That females aren't even good enough to wear clothes. But, oh, my God, they made them to see that shit play out. It was like, yeah, I can't get enough of this. So, anyway.
But that's exactly what we're talking about. Star Trek is good. Real Star Trek is good.
It is good. You know, I never thought in a million years I would, like I said, like the Ferengi or even the Klingons or even, you know, the Jemadar. These races are so interesting to me because the way they write it and weave it into the story. That is Star Trek. Good. That is good Star Trek. That is good Star Trek. And if they lose that, well, I don't know what to tell them. If they lose that, which, but yeah, this is what it's about.
It's not like modern television, not just modern Star Trek, but modern television, where they don't think about the longevity of the series as a whole, even when it's not producing any new episodes. The lasting effect a series can have by developing the characters, having storylines that fans can get invested in.
And I think I agree with all of that. And touching on that, I think the problem with modern Trek, you know, aside from the obvious, but the problem with it is that it no longer feels like we are experiencing our modern time issues through the lens of a faraway world, you know, in the future, a whole distant thing from us. It feels like a world that has had our modern sensibilities imprinted on them. It no longer feels like the future. Like think of the way that Star Trek original handled racism when they had those two races. One was white on the right side, black on the left.
Just thinking about it.
On the left, black on the right. Yeah,
you're both the same. No, Captain. He's black on one side, white on the other.
They were sold out that no, we are not the same. And here's Kirk, here's them going, what's the difference? That was brilliant because again, it got you to think. It was silly to us. What are you talking about? You're white on right and white and black, blah, 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 blah. Y'all are basically the same.
Well, even when Abraham Lincoln sees Uhura, and
yes,
you know, Uhura says she's not even bothered by the word he uses because they learned to grow past it.
Look at that. How they used modern day social, you know, socio and political issues. They did inject them into the show, but look how they did it through that far, you know, that we have advanced so far lens that to them it's absolutely ridiculous. And it really is ridiculous. And it gets you to think versus having having crew members. I'm non-binary or well, I'm trans or I'm this or I'm that. And then they talk about these modern issues today that's implanted, they're figuring out on their crew. It's like, are y'all here in our century or are we supposed to be in y'all's? Because a lot of us got past this shit a long time ago. Y'all are holding on to this, not us. Can we please get to where Star Trek is supposed to be? I think that is the main problem with modern Trek. They have not figured out how to do that well and make it really seem like, because some of this shit, no, it's not an issue for average people. We don't care. But if you keep shoving it in our faces, you're telling us what to think. That's when people start going, hey, on any issue or anything that can be. And that's what modern Trek feels like. And that's why when I watch these former Treks, these real Treks, I just fall in love with them all over again because they really are pinnacle writing. And I believe if Star Trek came along after Star Wars, it wouldn't have had just a 2-season run. Things might have changed. It would have evolved and it would have probably still had spinoffs. But no, I don't think it would have been so niche anymore as it was when it first came out. Although I'm kind of glad that it happened that way because it really does make them even all the more brilliant that they stood against so much, you know?
Yeah, they did. You know, you can't deny that Star Trek had some influence on Star Wars.
Oh, I George Lucas totally himself agree with that. I totally
admitted that he watched a few episodes of Star Trek and
yeah. Oh, yeah. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it's not the innovative series that it is. And that I guess I was
No,
thinking,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
okay, good.
just adding to the fact that George Lucas even admitted that he watched the original series, how it did have some influence on him when he was writing his stories. I mean, heck, you
Yeah,
can't tell me it didn't have some kind of influence on him when he's watching the model of the Enterprise and thinking, how could we do that better?
agreed. Agreed. And look at how timeless it has all become. And yes, look at
Mhm.
the influence it has. It is now considered peak sci-fi. Just with its longevity, just with its world building. It's a massive world. If I started today and I started reading everything Star Trek, never mind just the characters, never mind just the worlds, never mind just the planets that are involved in these solar systems and their travel and the ships and everything, just like the backstories, start with just the movies, I don't think I'd ever complete it in a lifetime. There's so much information out there. So it
Between
really does have longevity.
between 735 episodes, and that's across 6 series. And then you have the 10 movies, and then you have countless books.
Oh my God. My dad's only bought me a couple of books in my life just off the cuff. And he knew this was in the 90s. And he knew, after I'd gotten into the next gen, that I was really into Star Trek. And he bought me a book. He bought me the book Imzadi that tells the origin story of Deanna and Riker. How they met. I fell in love, how they broke up. Her get all the way to you presume she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
The book is actually, I forget who wrote it, but it's brilliant. And
I think it was Peter David, but let me double check myself.
It might be. His name is familiar. I've read a couple of his books because I went through a Star Trek book series. Q in Law was another one I loved. The one where Riker, I think he loses his hand, or somebody loses a hand, and he's in Alaska. He's in his home state.
Mm-hmm.
They were one about Data. I mean, I was like gobbling that shit up. And yeah, that was that. I was like, Dad, thank you. And I've told him, I'm like, this is one of the nicest gifts anyone got me. Just he was in a bookstore and saw it and thought, well, my daughter would like it, and got it for me, and it was perfect. To start with Imzadi, again, girly girl. I'm into that romance.
No problem.
Yeah, and there it is.
Was Peter David.
There it is. See, it's got the young Riker and the old Riker. So it starts in the future, and then he's thinking back.
I'm gonna increase the size of that real quick.
Yes, and then it ends up in the future again, and I won't spoil it for anyone who wants to read it. It's worth a read. It's good. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't even know what happened to it. I've moved so many times and I've lost so much stuff. I'm gonna have to rebuy this. I am. Because I forget how much I really enjoyed this book.
See, that's also what makes Star Trek so endearing is that you had people who were writing novels for Star Trek who understood the Star Trek universe, and they wrote some great stories.
So good. And Q in Law, oh my God, where Q ends up giving Loxana Troy the powers of a Q and regretting it because he's such a dick. These books are great. These books are great. And to me, it fleshes things out more. It kind of gives you what the series can't, just because the mediums are different. You can get way more descriptive in a book. You have a set amount of time to do a scene in a series. So it's really nice to kind of get these behind the scene glimpses of this world.
And I just thought I would check in on someone, like I said, to see if they had it. They do have the hardcover, and it's might as well pay $20. And
oh my God. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh shit.
Got the German edition.
I love it. Look at that, y'all. That was my first Star Trek book. My first one by my wonderful dad. Just because he thought I'd enjoy it. Because, he would hear me, and again, he was my well, actually, it was at this point, he was my fiance. He would hear us talking about it. Talking Star Trek, and Picard and I think, I don't know, maybe it was around season 4 or 5, but so he's like, he found that one day, and yeah. So good memories too. Good memories.
Yeah,
Star Trek.
Good memories because my mom used to take me to Star Trek conventions when I was younger, and she wasn't really a big Star Trek fan, but I still have a great memory of when Renee Auberjonois was at one of the conventions that we went to down in San Diego, and Majel Barrett was also there.
So love her.
I got her autograph and actually got to speak with Majel Barrett for a little while, and she personalized the autograph. And then when it came time for Renee Auberjonois to get his autograph, my mom said, "Can I get his autograph?" Because she knew who he was from his performances in shows, and also from his previous work. So she wanted to get his autograph, and I said, "Yeah, go ahead." But that's one of my favorite memories of going to a Star Trek convention with her. Just how happy she was, and I did get to meet Renee, because he motioned me to come into the line, because I was standing next to my dad, but it was just one of those special moments, and
yeah.
That's what Star Trek also means, is being able to go to these conventions and meeting these actors. And I'm not talking about the political side, their political preference. I mean, going there and actually talking to them, asking them about their interest. And Michael Dorn, when he came down to San Diego, he's still in his flight suit because he flew his own personal plane down. And
I mean, is that badass or what? That's so badass, right?
Mm-hmm. Just a wonderful experience, and being able to see the original trio at different times, seeing Leonard Nimoy, DeForest Kelley, and William Shatner at conventions.
Oh God!
That's memories that can't be taken away.
And speaking of them, the original crew, and specifically the original trio, what moment makes me literally squall like a child every single time I see it, no matter how many damn times I see it?
That moment.
You know which one I'm talking about, don't you? The end of Undiscovered Country, when their signatures come up on the screen.
Yes. So when everybody's signature comes on the screen after the Enterprise rides into the sunset.
Oh my God! Second star to the left until morning. Mm-hmm. God, I squall like a freaking baby, and that music they layer on. You talk about Star Trek, that gorgeous soaring music. Even though it's over, but that's just soaring music of that last moment of that original crew.
Mm-hmm.
Is so beautiful and so positive, really. It's bittersweet, but it's not bittersweet, because you are overwhelmed with, oh my God, I love this. And then those signatures come popping over that screen, and that pause, and then William Shatner, it's just like, that shit is powerful. That means you have something on your hands that has touched people.
And Star Trek has done just that. And yes, Anonymous, it was because of Benson that she wanted to get his autograph. And Arwen,
yes, love it.
Getting back to Star Trek 6 near the end there,
mm-hmm.
That movie leaves you with a smile on your face, because Uhura says, "We're being ordered to report back to Space Dock to be decommissioned." And then Spock says, "If I were human, I believe my exact response would be, go to hell." If I were human.
But you half human, Spock. You can do it. Right? Oh, God. It's just, yeah. And at that point, Sulu has got his own ship.
Yep.
He's off doing
That's a
his
big ship.
captainy things, and it's a big ship.
Not as
he's
big as
got
her captain,
Christian
I think.
Slater on board, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Slater!
In an uncredited cameo.
Yes! I'm like, wait a minute, is that who I think it is? And I remember first time I saw it, watching at the end, never saw his name. But it's like, did we just imagine Christian Slater popping into Sulu's? You got a problem with that, mister? No, sir. Christian freaking Slater.
Waking up Sulu in the middle of the night.
Right? It's just so good. And it's those kind of moments that spark conversation and just we just love. But yes, that end moment. I can't even count how many times I've seen that movie. I just can't. It's one of my favorites. The even movies of the original are my favorites.
Yeah.
But even though no, that was next gen. Never mind. I'm thinking of the originals. But
yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to those movies, the originals, it's the Wrath of Khan, then it's the Undiscovered Country,
yes,
the Voyage Home,
yes,
and then I flip flop after that. Because sometimes I'll say Star Trek 3, sometimes I'll say the motion picture, and
once in a while we'll think about the weirdness that was 5.
Yeah.
It's there. But yes, God, just Wrath of Khan. What? Oh, God. You talk about pulling just a powerful punch.
Mm-hmm.
At the end
I shall leave you as you left me, marooned for all eternity.
It's like, and was it y'all that was telling me that was Ricardo Montalban's real damn chest? Or was
I don't think it was his real chest. I think it was a plastic chest that they put on.
Someone somewhere in this sphere told me that was his real chest, and I'm like, damn, Ricardo. Which he was still a young man at that point.
Yeah,
or younger. Yeah. He was young. He was not, what's his name? Oh shit, Mr. Rourke. He was not Mr. Rourke from Fantasy Island at that point. He was younger, so. But
he was still doing Fantasy Island while he was filming The Wrath of Khan. But
no, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking what he looked like in the original. Yeah, no, at this point in Wrath of Khan, he was an old guy, but still, he still looked, those arms. He looked healthy. Mm-hmm. So I fully believed it was his real chest. I don't know if it is or not. I've just always wondered that. And it's another one of those things where I don't know if I want to Google it or not, because the conversation to me is just as fun as knowing the truth about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those mysteries I'm okay with, but I do wonder about that.
Live with the mystery, live with the fantasy. Yes, that is his real chest.
There you go. But he's so good, and you see him going crazy, and then at the end of that, oh my God, Spock, we love you, Spock, and the amazing on the bagpipes. I can't.
And to think that William Shatner and Ricardo Montalban never had an interaction, face-to-face interaction in The Wrath of Khan. It's all done via view screen or done via audio.
Why does it feel like, especially when, the famous Khan, why does it feel like they're face-to-face? No, you're absolutely right. They don't.
I think a lot of that has to do with the way they were able to tell the story, the direction of Nicholas Myers, to still make you care that even though they're not face-to-face, you still are invested in what's going on. You're still invested in the fact that here we're going to the station that isn't responding to any communication after they received a mysterious communication from the Reliance captain saying that they're ordered to seize Genesis.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff going on in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end, you just feel like, what just happened? What just happened?
Well,
Wait,
none of that.
isn't he coming back? Wait. Wait. Is that Spock actually going out to sea, to space?
You mean Spock's actually gone? I mean,
Yeah.
it does get to you. I don't care who you are. It does get to you when Spock and Kirk are having their last moment, and Spock saying "ship out of danger," and then Kirk says yes, and then Spock says, "What do you think of my solution?" And then it leads up to the most heartbreaking moment of them all. You have been and always shall be my friend. Live long and prosper.
Oh, and that little no that Shatner utters, it kind of cracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, stop it. I did not see that in the theater. I actually saw it, I think, on video cassette. Might have been DVD. I don't know. I saw it anyway. I saw it on home media. I don't remember exactly when I saw it. Been years though.
That's the only
And
way I've ever seen it.
yeah, and
kick
I
myself for
remember.
not going to a showing of it at the theater, but
Well, I was watching it with my husband, and I remember snatching up the remote and pausing it and saying, "What the hell?" and rewinding it and watching it again. And I'm like, as I'm watching like the third time, and he's just kind of, laughing and shaking his head. And I'm watching it the third time, him floating out. I'm like, is he coming back? And he said, honey, I think as far as they were concerned when this movie ended, no, Spock was gone. I said, He said, Spock was gone. The fans brought him back, but at this point, Spock was gone. Spock, the character, was dead. And I'm like, no.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why they brought in Christy Alley as Savick.
Yes,
he was going to replace him.
Oh my God. No, we needed our Spock back. We needed it. And I honestly didn't care what they had to do to bring him back. I just wanted him back. Because to me, Kirk is still Kirk, but the Kirk, Spock, Bones triangle is just chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to have it, at least until they're done with that crew. We need them all.
Yeah, we do. I mean, you don't get that triumphant again until Next Generation. And with that one, it's Riker, Picard, and Data.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And when you affect one, it affects all.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you could really say there was a triumvirate for Deep Space Nine. I think it was more of a quartet.
Yeah, that and I would say Deep Space Nine does strike me more as an ensemble cast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, of course, you have your star, you have Avery Brooks, you have the Cisco. Yay, we love you. Then you have Major Kira, you've got Jadzia Dax, Bashir. When Worf comes on board, he kind of joins that, and then O'Brien kind of joins that. Mm-hmm. But then you have standouts that are not necessarily part of the crew, but damn, like, Garrick. Who doesn't love Garrick? Another one. Any episode where he is on, whether he is tailoring, whether he is espionaging, whether he is quipping, whether he's just having lunch with Bashir, I want to be there to see it because he's another fascinating, layered character.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Deep Space Nine, especially. You loved the ensemble cast that you would see each and every week, the stars.
Yes.
But you would love the guest stars and the characters that they would play because they had an impact. I mean, Gul Dukat.
Yes, Gul Dukat. There you go. He sweeps in with that, I am just better than everyone else. He's insufferable, but you live for it because the actor is so good at it. Mm-hmm. He just embodies that character. And it's more fleshed out.
And then you have Louise Fletcher as Kai Wynn. And
the woman everyone loves to hate. Mm-hmm. Yes, but don't you? Now, let me ask you something. Do you, I'm not going to assume, do you feel bad for her at the end? Do you feel like she was just a woman who had good intentions, but got duped, and then because of her greed for power, and then things just spun out? Or do you think, no, I think she used him as much as she used her and got what her deserved? Or are you somewhere in the middle?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I believe that
yeah.
She
That's
got what
fair.
she deserved because she was power hungry.
Oh, yes, she was. She was.
But I also feel that she was a victim of circumstances because Ducat used her
And he
for his
is
own.
master manipulator, this
Mhm,
one. And I kind of, in a weird way, I mean, if I ever, any compassion I felt for him, I will be honest. Any compassion I felt for him, any joy I wanted him to find, anytime I find myself kind of going, you know what? He's really not the bad guy. He was just, victim of circumstance like anyone else, except, it's in his society. No, that crumbled when he revealed who he really was and what he did to her. I was like, you are a piece of shit.
mhm.
I love you for it, Golden Cot. Never change. But oh my God, this man. But then I think about her. I'm like, you know what? I think you willfully allowed yourself to be received because you wanted it all. You wanted the man, and you wanted the power, and you wanted to be the guy, and you wanted to just
Mhm.
everyone to love you and worship and adore you, and it had nothing to do with your faith.
Exactly, and she wanted the Federation out of the way.
That part, and the way the show had the Bajorans, some of them respond, I thought was brilliantly done. And again, I thought it was respectful because you do see things like that happen.
Mhm,
And it was more about her wanting to corrupt. I don't think she wanted to corrupt their religion. I think she genuinely believed that her interpretation of it was the right way because she's the Kai.
mhm.
Of course she's right. Why can't anyone see this? I'll make them see it. It was brilliant.
It wasn't, and
Yes, yes,
she did have a problem with
yeah,
Cisco, a non-Bajoran, being the emissary to the prophets.
she sure did. She sure did. And there is some parallel there to religions of today, which I find really interesting. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of cool. I never thought about it that way. So I just love the way they handled these themes. And you got to pick and choose, like the Resistance. The episode where Kira goes back in time because her mother was found out to be a collaborator, and they were demanding that, hey, your mother was this. So she feels like she's got to go back and eliminate her own mother because no mercy to collaborators because of everything the Bajoran went through. And
She
then she
learns the
finds
truth as
out,
to why.
yes. And then it's like, what do you do? Now you're in a moral quandary. You see why your mother had to do what she did. You see how it's taking care. Your dad seems to understand that. What can he do? She's being well treated. Everyone's being taken care of. Is she a collaborator or is she not? What do you do?
Mhm.
Brilliant. Brilliant the way they handle that. And they have
Well,
lost that today. They don't know how to do that anymore.
they have, because even when we first meet Kira in Emissary, she's cold and distant from Cisco. Even in the first season, she's not really warming up to him. But
Kira's a
then,
pain in the ass in those first few
yeah,
episodes. Let's call it what it is. But you learn why. You
mhm,
understand why down the road.
yeah, and she even paints the picture in the first episode, saying, you know, I'm not happy about the fact that we finally drive out the Cardassians, gain our independence, and then our leaders say, "Hey, Federation, come on in."
And when I first saw the series, I thought, well, you're kind of bitchy. They're trying to do something good because I had a relationship with the Federation. I had zero
Mhm,
relationship with the Bajoran. Now, to the Star Trek journey that I'm in now, I understand 1,000% why she would be skeptical and why she would be like, can we slow the hell down, please, before we invite anyone else to just come in? And I get it.
mhm.
And she had to toughen up at a young age, so she's going to be salty about some things. But you learn that, and it's just, yeah, it's brilliant. Some Bajoran are very, very sweet and very, well, I don't know if sweet's the word. They're very, well, like who was her boyfriend? I can't remember his name. He was up to be Kai, I think, or was Kai.
That's
Anyway,
Baral.
Yes, he was a very spiritual, mindful, Zen-like person. He was a Zen-like Bajoran. He leaned more that, yeah, all this war and shit sucks and we have to survive, but we can't forget what sustains us. Let's not become bitter. Let's not become like the enemy. We have to hold fast to who we are, and we are spiritual people. And they are a very, very spiritual people. And then you had others that were so war-torn and had seen so many atrocities done by the Cardassians that they're just like, there's no going back. And with that comes mistrust. And also this, another example of a great society, a split society that they made that is coming back together. But at the end of the day, they're all Bajoran first. They're very proud to be Bajoran. So you've got that patriotism there. So yeah, the point is, I don't blame her, but I thought she was a pain in the ass. And she was in those beginning ones, but you learn why. And then you think, well, I don't know that I wouldn't be a little bit of a pain in the ass too. Yes. Vedic Barrel. You said Vedic Barrel Pacific. Yep.
Yeah, and let me ask you this before we wrap things up. Do you think Bajor should have been admitted to the Federation, or do you think they should remain neutral?
Remind me of the pros and cons. Well, I know one pro, obviously, being admitted to the Federation, you get their protection. But what was their biggest pro for staying independent? Because I know Kira was, for a long time, pro-independent. Did they ever say what they're like, just because they're so used to being anybody else, they just want to rule themselves for a while?
I can't remember the specifics, and maybe Anonymous or someone else can help me out. But I think one of their, ideas against joining the Federation was that they wouldn't have their individuality.
Yeah.
So to speak.
You're right. Now, it was my question whether or not they should have joined?
Yeah. Do you think they should have joined by the end of the series, or do you think they should have remained as they were?
Well,
an ally of the Federation, but they're not a part of the Federation.
I think something should have been maneuvered where they enter into a non-affiliated relationship with the Federation. In other words, they are in good standing with the Federation. They adopt the same ideals as far as the general ideals, as far as, peace and, all that good stuff that Star Trek is known for, that they say, let's not, I won't interfere. You don't interfere, peace. But you can't just go blowing people up. Okay. Cause that's not one of our morals. It's not something we prescribe to. If you're going to be, they could still do that, but be totally autonomous because they are a pretty young Federation, if you will, for lack of a better word. They're young. What was their government called? I'm just drawing all kinds of blanks right now. Whatever their government was called, they're young still. Their independence is still young. They still have to figure out really who they are, not just from their traditions, but who they are after having been through all the war, who they are after being declared independent, who they are after, getting notice from the Federation. They're not the same people that they once were because of everything they've been through. And they got to come together and figure out how to work as a society first, I think, before having to worry about, well, okay, we're part of the Federation now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
They're still aligned, but they need that freedom to grow. And honestly, if I was the Federation, I'd be keeping my eye out on them, and I'd be offering protection if they needed it pro bono, because the Federation should realize, what they do need to find their own footing at first. They need to
let them find their own path. We don't mind being here to help them run the station, keep security. But they need to find their own path, their own way, so that they can grow as a culture, as a society, however you want to put it.
Without the Federation having any kind of pressure or demands like, okay, well, if you join our homeowners association, you got to keep your lawn, a half an inch thick instead of 2 inches thick. None of that bullshit. They're not ready for that because they have to get established themselves. There's still, there were still for a while terror cells on both sides. They were unstable.
Think about the episode that started the first 3-part episode, The Circle.
Yeah,
there were still some cells that they didn't want the Federation there. They wanted complete and total Bajoran independence from anybody.
From anyone. And they would not even be happy with them being non-affiliated with somebody else. They want, no, almost to the point of anarchy, So yeah, that is what I think, to be non-affiliated and for the Federation to do that, give them their due, because by the end, yes, they are independent. They are, let them find their shit. That's what I would have done. Yeah, they need to learn to stand on their own 2 feet first as a society, and they need to heal, and they need to mend, and they need to, be free in practicing their faith and practicing their society and all that. And let's face it, they're not a weird society. They're not like, yeah, when you love someone, you murder their parent to show how much you love them. Drink from the blood of their skull. They're not Klingons.
No.
They are compatible with the Federation. They could be non-affiliated with them and everything will be good. They have Federation-like morality. So
they do. And,
they just
you get
have
the influence.
a worldwide faith. They have a faith. It's, but anyway.
And you get influence from both sides. You can't tell me that Cisco wasn't influenced by Bajoran culture, and the Bajorans weren't influenced by not only Cisco but other members of the Federation. Even having Kira, even though she was part of Bajor, her influence having been on Deep Space Nine, working alongside Starfleet officers.
Like, remember that episode where Keiko wanted to start a school and she was going to teach evolution? And a lot of the Bajoran parents were like, now, wait a minute, we don't believe in that. There's the wormhole. There's our, what? No, this is not. And it really offended them. And she was talking about it with Cisco and Kira was like, I'm sorry. At that point, I agree with the parents. And Keiko was like, you can't be serious. She's like, no, this is part of who we are. This is our spirituality. This is our reality. This is who we are. We take this stuff very seriously. And it was like, wow, okay. And Keiko got to see someone who she respects, who's not a quote unquote religious nut job, say, hey.
Like Kai Wynn.
Right, like Kai Wynn, exactly. And after that, Kira was like, no, she could see Kai Wynn. Yeah, the cracks were showing. But at that time, Kira was like, no, I get it. I get why they feel that way. And I kind of do too, because this is who we are. We don't just, it's not like we say our prayers at night and then live like hell during the week. And then on Sunday, we might step in a church. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But she's like, I got it. This is the very fabric of who we are as a society. It's what makes us Bajoran, is our faith. And of course, all the artifacts that go with it and yada, yada. But anyway.
Being able to find those Bajoran artifacts, having the Bajoran temple on Deep Space Nine where they could have their place of worship and commune with the prophets and is very important to their society.
Yes. Yes, it is the foundation of what they believe. And it's, we don't, even like modern Christianity, modern Judaism, even in the pagan faiths. The pagan faiths may be more so than us, but I can't think of any faith that actually has an ancient artifact of their faith, like the Holy Grail. We don't have the Holy Grail in a museum somewhere. There, I know there's debate on what are like the Shroud of Turin and stuff like that, but it's not something you see in faiths today, a place where you can go that reminds you that from that history, from your world, that reminds you of your God or your faith or something that connects you or something special. We don't have that. And here's a species or aliens that they created that do. Like you said, these orbs are everything to them. It is sacred to them. It means something to them. So it's kind of neat to see that explored, and by characters you respect, by characters are not religious fanatics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who are nut jobs like Kai Wynn.
Right. And who was the first Kai? The very first Kai that Cisco meets, which she
Opaka.
Apaka. She's feeling those lobes, she's feeling for the chi or whatever.
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
chi.
She's searching for Cisco's pa.
His pa. Yes, she's searching for his pa, and he's like, okay, he's very respectful, but you could tell it's not a custom we're used to. But she knew exactly what she was doing, and look how he learned to respect their faith. I mean, you see how he got drawn into it. He's the Cisco. But they showed that it was bigger than just, okay, human and Bajoran. And that, like you were talking about earlier, I believe that crossover,
Mm-hmm.
Into that faith, how they gain respect. They gain, they get to see behind the scenes. They become a part of each other's worlds.
Mutual admiration for one another.
Yes. And that is further why I think the Bajoran need to stay independent, because they have their Cisco. They've got the Cisco. Let them enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has aligned for them. All the prophecies have been fulfilled. They've got their independence. Let them just be alone and enjoy it. And Federation, watch out for them and protect them. Mm-hmm. That's what I think. I would have.
That's what the Cisco would want. And he did say in the last episode, what we leave behind, he will return someday. He didn't say when.
Right. But it's they have lived through that. They've seen the Cisco.
Mm-hmm.
Come into the Cisco-ness. You know what I mean? But it's a brilliant series. I don't know what else to say. This particular incarnation of Star Trek, it ticks all my boxes on what I am looking for, not just in a good sci-fi, but just in a good anything. And pretty much any genre, if you approach it this well, even if I may not be into the genre, now I do love sci-fi now, but at the time it was my gateway. It's perfect. If they do any genre like they treat it like this, they will come. You will get people watching it, enjoying it, and talking about it. And that's what this one did for me.
That's exactly what Deep Space Nine does. It respects what came before, it respects what it's doing, but it also respects its audience and doesn't talk down to them and treat them like they don't know anything about this universe.
Right. And it's not apologetic. They are their own characters. They have their own paths and stories. Like you said, Jake deciding, no Star Trek. I mean, no Starfleet. Stuff like that. These characters develop their own thing. They are not carbon copies of original characters or former characters. They are unique. And they're not afraid to explore them.
No, they're not. They might throw in a line that will make you smile as a little nod to the original series, like we saw in Trials and Tribble-ations, where Julian said, "I'm a doctor, not a historian."
Right. Right.
Or even when the doctor on Voyager would, say a few, "I'm a doctor, not this or that."
I'm a doctor, not a dermatologist. I loved it. Oh my God, in the movie in First Contact, when the Borg burst in and he's like, I noticed your skin lesions on your face. Can I suggest some antiseptic cream? Just like doctor down to the last moment. I know hologram, but still.
but still, it was good because Beverly initiates the program and tells the EMH, tell a story, do a dance, just give us a diversion.
Just give us time, dude. And he's like, okay. And he probably would. If they had stopped, he probably would have listed off all the creams they could have used for their skin lesion in alphabetical order. Just to stall for time. Oh, God, I love that movie. Such a good movie.
Part of good Star Trek. But before we get out of here, Arwen, is there anything or anyone that you want to promote?
Just come on out. You can find me. Well, if you need to find me on any day, I'm usually modding over at Pat Stevens or JFG as it is on Rumble. He streams from like 5 to whenever. But as far as streaming goes, I'm on Loki's in the mornings, on Friday mornings, the Week in Review with him and the Rooster Day Bob. And then that evening at 7-ish, because, back to, we always arrive precisely when we need to. And that may not be on time at 7, but I am with the VacTube. And then on Saturdays, usually I am over with Eris and Project Storytime, my sensei, on Eris of Chaos. I was not able to make it today because I had a power outage from about 11 o'clock to 4:30. And that sucked. But that's normally where I am. Or you can find me on my Twitter, or my email's the same, arwinavalon@gmail.com.
And I'm going to look for Eris's link as well.
Or you can find me hanging out with Pacific and Fat Stevens. He's usually over there too when he's not streaming. Pops in and says, "Hey, we hang out."
Or even just before I start a stream, I make sure to stop by to say hello. And
yep.
All right. So I got Eris's link and I'm putting it into the chat right now. Now make sure everybody knows Eris of Chaos.
She streams at 1 Eastern on Saturdays, on 12 for you Central Time people. It's a running joke between me and Eris, between all of us, really, the South and the Centrals. But yes, and if you haven't been watching those streams, it's an AI book that Sensei and now Eris has kind of fed into AI that just, believe it or not, came out of a 50s dating guide on how to catch a husband. And it is morphed into trilogies. And it is the most bizarre story imaginable. And y'all, they're hysterical. We have fun with them. We read them aloud and then give our our comments. So yeah, check those out on Saturdays.
Nice, very nice. And I've just realized I'm not even subscribed to Eris. What's wrong with me?
You might have been, sometimes things get unsubscribed. I've been unsubscribed from people that I know I did not unsubscribe from.
Yeah, because I was going to just say, I know I was subscribed to her at one point, but...
Yeah. That's probably what happened.
But yes, Arwen, this was a lot of fun, and being able to talk about this episode and other, topics related to Star Trek, the movies and different characters. This has been a lot of fun.
It really has, and I was so looking forward to this. And thank you, Pacific, for having me on, because I don't get to geek out about this stuff a lot, because my kids they got their own stuff going on. But I love being able to just go fangirl on things that we love. So again, thank you so much for the invitation.
Well, anytime. Thank you for accepting the invitation. It is one of those things where I'm thinking, okay, who do I want to have on? Reaching out to people and, understanding the fact that everybody has their own lives, things that they do on certain days. So you may not be able to get this person, but I knew I wanted to have you on, and we'd had great conversations before.
Oh yeah.
It was a matter of just, decided on the episode, and then, here we are tonight discussing a wonderful episode from Deep Space Nine.
Right. Exactly. And, as I said, I don't get to talk about it a lot. My kids, like, I can talk B5 with my son, and I can talk K-pop Demon Hunters with my daughter. But, and I could talk a little Star Trek with one, not the other, but I don't get to sit down and gab like this ever. Not with them, definitely. And they're the ones who are around the most. So anytime you ask, I'm like, yes, because I know we are always going to have a good conversation. And it's going to go in just 1,000 different directions, but they're always so much fun. So yeah, it's been my pleasure. It really has.
And I thank you very much. I do want to let everybody know that for the next episode of the Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion, episode 14, that'll be on November 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern, and I will be joined by the Nerdporial Lifeform, and we are going to watch and discuss a great two-part episode from Next Generation, Chain of Command.
Yay! Good.
And as far as what else is coming up on Pacific 4 and 4, well, tomorrow we're having a double feature watch party. We're going to watch the Wolfman from 1941.
Oh,
It's our first movie, because you have to throw in the original Universal monsters somehow for Halloween time. But then after that, we're going to watch Ernest Scared Stupid. You know what I mean, Vern?
A classic. You know, the first time I ever saw that was last year.
Really?
Yes. I know all about Ernest. I love Ernest. I've seen his Christmas one. For some dumb reason, he never entered my brain to look up and actually watch. I just never thought about it until way after Halloween. And then it's like, well, I'm going to wait this year and watch it this Halloween. Never got to. Last year I did. Love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
One thing I didn't know about Jim Varney until I started, looking into his career was that he was a Shakespearean actor.
He was a classical actor. But look what really put him on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone loved Ernest. So yeah, y'all do great with that. Can't wait for that.
And again, the Cosme link will be available for anyone who wishes to join us tomorrow afternoon. I hope that Cash and Baron will be there, but they're both busy right now. So if they're not there, then everybody come by and let's hang out for a little bit. And I do want to thank those who hung out with us tonight, and I'm sure we'll have more watch this on the replay. But Lady Miss, or the Admiral Lady Mist, always great to see you. Appreciate your support. The lovely Princess of YouTube, Leia Rose. We also had DJ Ronnie G. Good to see you, my brother. And FKHC 2005, also known as Tim. Great to see you. Tree Rock Creations, happy to see you, brother. And I'm also happy to see my brother from another mother.
Oh,
you are wrong, Shane.
Hey, Shane. Hey, y'all.
And of course, Anonymous. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. If you could do me a favor and make sure that you're subscribed to Arwen, make sure you're subscribed to Stone Cold Loki, Heirs of Chaos, and the Backtube, and let everybody know what we do here on Pacific 4 and 4. I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, everybody, live long and prosper.
Bye, y'all.